Now, we had a big decision, continuing kind of our growth theme du jour, for the Ed Center with APS.
What was
the
former Ed
decision?
Center.
Now the former Ed Center.
Yeah.
The project formerly known as the Ed
formerly,
Center.
Exactly, and I'm happy to talk about that because, you know, I first got on the school board in '97, January of '97, and before that I was quite active there. So I've been going to that building for a long time. I remember when they were, like, before the Ed Center got converted. Anyway, we're moving forward. It means a lot to me personally, but I won't go on about that too much. What's cool about it is what we call adaptive reuse. So it's an administrative building, and it had a lot of issues with it was built a while ago when we didn't worry about energy, we didn't worry about it. So the building would get really hot because the windows weren't right. Okay. And of course the floors are not set up for class space, which is what they need. It was set up for office. So the school system, you know, decided that they have moved to the SciFax Center, which is over off of Washington Boulevard, right? Which is a great new facility for them. And so they had this building right next to Washington Lee, so they decided to convert it to classroom space, which they need. And that saves having to, like, construct a whole new building. I mean, adaptive reuse is just so good on so many different levels. So they went in and we worked with it together. There was a joint group looking at things, and they're putting in new windows. There was a little discussion about it being a historic building, and it kind of is. It's a very odd-looking building with the planetarium there, but it's kind of cool. And we very quickly decided that they were going to be true to the sort of the style. It's not going to look all that much different, but not absolutely slavishly true to it, because if you would do that, you couldn't have kids in there learning well. So we changed the windows. They're going to change the windows and some things like that. So I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be a great way to get about 400, 500, 600 street seats for students back, without building a whole new building and not costing a whole lot of money either. It's clever, actually.
Does this mean that additional students will be going to Washington Lee, or does this take some current overcrowding and put some students in this building, or how is that all going to work?
So initially the plans are for this to add to the capacity at Washington, soon to be
Washington
Liberty.
Right.
So that will have up to 600 more students. So that will just very much accommodate the need for seats. But the great thing about this building is, since it is a part of the W&L campus, but it is a self-contained building, it gives the school system options if they want to think about academy models or other ways of delivering education to students of the future. They do have that flexibility. And aside from adaptive reuse being sustainable and more cost effective, I love the fact that it gives them a programmatic option that they wouldn't necessarily have.
Just complete flexibility.
That's right.
Exactly.
A whole separate structure that will be top of the line with some of the renovations that will need to be done anyway. Now, what kind of impact will this conversion have on, if any, on the neighborhood itself?
Well, that's always a detailed conversation that we have
Parking
in Arlington.
Parking and traffic we talk about a lot. And there was actually, one of the things was along Quincy, where are we going to do the pickup and the drop-off? So trying to figure that out. And at one point, there was concern that if you do it on the curb, you're going to block the bike lanes that are coming back and forth. And so there was discussion about that, and should we do it in the back? And then the school staff and other people said, you know, wherever you do it, parents are going to do this anyway. So you need to plan for that. And they came out actually two separate kind of drop-off places, which I think will work. But it was interesting actually watching our own staff, our own transportation staff, have a view of doing it, working with school and the school community, because parents and kids at school behave a little differently from people in office buildings and things. So kind of getting those two cultures kind of getting together to work out the best way of doing it was great. It was great to see. It was a little bumpy at times, but it was good.
And of course, the school growth is something we talk about all the time here on County Board Wrap-Up, and it's a challenge for Arlington. How will having this flexible space really help to achieve some of the goals we've had here?
Well, the great thing is this can be delivered so much more quickly than building a new school from scratch. So this Ed Center conversion will be ready for the 2021-2022 school year. So these are going to come online really quickly. So, you know, one of the issues is that we typically have to deal with overcrowding through use of relocatable structures and, loss of green space in order to accommodate that growth. We're able to sort of bypass that step a little bit here by going straight to this facility. So I think this is a tremendous way to just really fully absorb the students and keep the programs that the students would be engaging in an extracurricular fashion. Those are all going to be going on at the same time. So this is really going to bring capacity up to speed really quickly. So this should hopefully for the foreseeable future, along with the investments that they're making at the Career Center site and the growth of the Arlington Tech program, this should really put the high school seats situation under control for the school system for the foreseeable future.
And I'm searching my memory, which is always a little unreliable. I believe this is the first time we've taken a building that was never really intended for classroom use and converting it. And you know, the school system, we all are continuing. We're kind of helping them, looking for some some buildings that could be used this way, adaptive reuse we call it, in old office buildings possibly. Now it's tricky because there are requirements for schools that this one fits. So we'll see. But I think it's just stretching the envelope a little bit about what our possibilities are. And in our 26 square miles, as we continue to grow and change, flexibility is the coin of the realm, I think, but we need to do it well.
Pilot program almost.
In a way, and it's going to be beautiful. I just love seeing this old building that was getting tired, going to be really freshed up and given a whole new life. It's exciting.